Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another sports stuff video. Today, we'll be trying a different format out, alright? Instead of me doing my usual format of having a camera with slides, I'm gonna try this out for a couple of videos. We have so much information to go over, I don't really have the time to make all the graphics I usually do. So, if you guys enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into this video. As we know, week 18 is about over. It is 5:47. Most of the 425 games are either at halftime or starting the third quarter. So I want to go over the 1 p.m. window. So let me pull it up right here. So we'll be going over the week 18 Saturday games and the 1 p.m. games for the NFL season of week 18. Started off with the Browns at Ravens. You know, honestly, I think the Browns, as everyone on the show knows, I'm a very big Browns fan. I grew, I'm rooting for this team to the day I die. But darn, it gets harder every single year. But after the game, both Ken Dorsey, our offensive coordinator, and our offensive line coach Andy Dickerson were let go. And there are rumors that there's a couple of guys on the team as well that will either be fired or get hired away by other teams. That includes Bubba Ventrone and Tommy Reese. If Mike Vrabel does get a head coaching job, which we'll talk about in a couple of minutes about another team, if Mike Vrabel does get the head coaching job anywhere, it's already come out that both Tommy Reese and Bubba Ventrone would follow Mike Vrabel. So I think the Browns are being nice right now instead of firing Bubba Ventrone. Because again, it's something I think is going to happen. I think Bubba Ventrone, one way or another, will be off this team, off this coaching staff. I think it'll either be by getting, taken by Mike Vrabel to another team, or it's going to be fired by the Browns because he's done a pretty bad job with our units. And so yeah, only offensive line coach and OC has been fired. And all the interviews of players and coaches and everyone that is kind of important to this franchise in the last 24 hours has been, hey, what does Deshaun Watson have to do to get back to being a quarterback for this team? And everyone's responses are pretty negative towards Deshaun Watson, right? We have Jack Conklin saying we need to go back to the offense where we know has success. You know, the 2020, the 2024, or 2023 Kevin Stefanski offense, play action, off the play action, pass. Both Joel Bitonio has been saying it for the last couple of weeks as well. Myles Garrett, obviously, with the rumors of him going to ownership and the GM saying, listen, we need to make a path clear. Denzel Ward then saying, hey, I'm not going to have that meeting, but I'm going to look over Myles Garrett's shoulder to see the plan, and we'll both make our decisions from there. And then Kevin Stefanski as well, when they said, will Deshaun Watson be the starter next year? Kevin Stefanski gave a non-answer, as he usually does, but this time says he needs to focus on getting healthy. I think it's very, very clear that the offensive players on this team and the franchise pieces, the head coach, are all saying Deshaun Watson cannot play next year, right? I think that's a given. I didn't know how they were going to go about it, but I mean, this is pretty clear in the media. We have players saying we got to go back to the offense that works. We got to get better quarterback play. And then they're answering when it should be Deshaun Watson. They're saying we need to get better. We need to get better. I don't think you say that if the better is already on the team, right? So for the Browns, I don't see Deshaun Watson being the starter next year. What I truly think is going to happen for the Cleveland Browns, I've been saying this. Also, the Browns also locked up the number 2 overall pick with the Patriots beating the Bills today. So the Browns are the number 2 overall pick, right? So I see number 1 being the Titans. They're going to grab their quarterback, whether it's Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. I don't care which one it is. You guys have a discussion. I think Cam Ward will probably go number 1 overall, especially to the Titans. I've been saying the Titans need a Cam Ward more than Shedeur Sanders. So let's just say either one of them go at 1. I think if Cam Ward is available at 2, you draft him. If Shedeur Sanders is at number 2, I think you trade back. I don't think Shedeur Sanders is a fit for what Kevin wants to do. I'd say the Browns slide back, take either Ashton Janty, Mason Graham, or Abdul Carter. Then at the end of the first round, you trade back up in and you grab Jalen Milroe. I don't see Jalen Milroe after all the rumors and all the smoke have been seen from the NFL insiders and draft insiders. Jalen Milroe will not be a top 15, top 10 pick. I think he can be. I think he has the talent to be, but he's not when it comes to draft season. We're not going to see a Jalen Milroe top 15 pick selection. So I think the Browns can easily slide back, get extra draft capital, take one of the 3 guys I just mentioned, Abdul Carter, Mason Graham, Ashton Janty. If Will Campbell is available, maybe even grab Will Campbell. Then towards the end of the first round, whether it's at pick 30 Wherever the Minnesota Vikings pick, honestly, I could see the Browns making a move up. Maybe even the Philadelphia Eagles, wherever they land in the first round. Teams that Andrew Berry has a draft history with, right? He came from the Philadelphia Eagles to the Browns. Then Kwesi Odafe-Brown, Odafe Messi? No, it's Kwesi Odafe-Brown, the GM of the Vikings. He was former Andrew Berry staffer. Like, that's where he got his start. So those two teams, I think, would easily slide back for the Browns to let them trade up and grab a quarterback. Because again, the GMs is a friend business. You see in the NBA, you see in the NFL, more trades happen with GMs who are friends with each other, right? That's why in the offseason, who teams practice with joint practices matter, right? The Browns of the last 4 years had Eagles joint practices. This is the first year that Andrew Berry and Kwesi Odafe-Brown of the Vikings had joint practices. You're gonna see all around the league, when you see joint practices, it's because the GMs are usually friends. So I think the Browns, they'll probably go and sign Kirk Cousins for a 1-year deal. Maybe a Malik Willis as a flyer. But if I'm Cleveland, right? If I'm Andrew Berry, I'm saying I'm fixing the quarterback position. I'm making no question mark signings. Kirk Cousins, 1 year, $4 million. He's gonna get cut by the Falcons. He's gonna be getting paid all that money. 1 year, $4 million. Jacoby Brissett, 1 year, $4 million to be the backup quarterback. Then whatever rookie you want to draft, right? Whether it's Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jalen Milroe, Curtis Rourke, Jackson Dart, I don't care. Whatever quarterback you draft will be quarterback number 3. And what the Browns are going to do is keep Deshaun Watson on IR. Fully expect him to be put on season-ending IR the soonest they can in the 2025 season. When that league year starts, he's going to probably, once training camp comes around, he's going to have a few practices, then they're going to shut him down, right? They're going to put him on IR, saying that ACL, the Achilles, never really fully healed. We're putting him on season-ending IR. Deshaun Watson will not be on the team. Then March 1st, 2026, fully expect Deshaun Watson to be cut. That is what I'm thinking is going to happen, right? They're going to sign Kirk. There's too much smoke. Especially if the Browns hire Clint Kubiak as the OC, who got his first start with Kevin Stefanski, right? I think that is what's going to happen. They're going to sign Kirk. They're going to sign Jacoby. They're going to draft someone. Deshaun goes on season-ending IR. But this is an awful Browns season. Awful. 3-14 can't happen again. The Baltimore Ravens, who they faced, the game didn't really matter. Lamar put up another 2 passing touchdowns, helped his touchdown-interception ratio get even better. Lamar, in my opinion, should be the MVP, but they're gearing up for a playoff run. So, honestly, this game meant nothing for them, besides let's get Lamar a couple more touchdowns and, secure the AFC North. Then the Bengals-Steelers. Bengals, tough break. As I'm recording, Broncos are up 24-0 on the Chiefs. Bengals will probably not make the playoffs. That's tough, right? Joe Burrow, if they had a 13-win season, Joe Burrow wins the MVP. I think he's having the best season as a pure passer. Now, Joe Burrow also does have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. So I still think Lamar Jackson's having a better season, but I think Joe Burrow probably would have won it because it would have been his first time winning one. Kind of like how the Josh Allen hype train, the PR machine's moving. I think Joe Burrow would have also gotten something like that if that's what was going to happen. But the Bengals, they go 9-8. Tough. They end the season winning 5. If just one game goes their way, if that week 1 loss to the Patriots goes their way, they're in the playoffs. But the Bengals, they gotta figure something out. Are they gonna keep T. Higgins and Jamar Chase? I think they have to. But they have money in really weird spots on this team, right? Whether it's at offensive line with Orlando Brown making like $80 million guaranteed across 2 years. You have Trey Hendrickson, obviously, but Sam Hubbard, D tackles are making a lot of money. Linebackers are making a lot of money. You just have like $8 million, $7 million, $5 million, $10 million. And random guys on the roster. They need to streamline that money, whether it's going to be cuts or trades or restructures. They need to streamline the money, open up $60 million in cap space, and pay their 2 wide receivers. You see what this offense can be, a top 5 offense with Joe Burrow and the wide receivers healthy. You just got to get a better defense. I think you got to do it through the draft, right? I think the offensive line, as it is right now, if they can just, casually have another season like this, and they get a defense with more young pieces, more cheap talent, I think they can be a 10-11 win team in the AFC North. The Steelers, 5-loss slide. I think the Steelers are going to get one and done in the playoffs. I don't expect them to win a playoff game. Again, since 2016, no playoff wins, but 3 appearances. That's something that I think that the Steelers organization, the owners have to, consider. Do you value winning seasons every year, but never any playoff success? Or do you value trying to go for a Super Bowl? It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. Mike Tomlin, I think he's safe, but does Mike Tomlin want to go somewhere, right? Maybe he wants a change in scenery. Whether it's gonna be the New England Patriots, the Chicago Bears, like there are a lot of teams that need a coach. And if Mike Tomlin tomorrow said, or let's say Mike Tomlin after week 1 of the playoffs, they lose by 18, lose by 10, will be a little nice. They lose by 10. What if Mike Tomlin goes, I am not going to be a head coach anymore for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm stepping away so they can hire someone else, and I'm now available. There is a lot of coaches that would be like, okay, let's fire our coach. Let's go get Mike Tomlin. That would be a real thing. That would be a real thing. I think that would absolutely happen. And Mike Tomlin is a great coach. I just think that the Steelers have run their course. They're too good to get a premier draft pick, but they're too bad to win a Super Bowl, and that's gonna be their issue for years to come until they get a quarterback, right? Next, we have the Panthers at Falcons. Panthers, they may have 5-12 record, but this is a very impressive Panthers season. Bryce Young got his swagger back, has his confidence. Year 3, Bryce Young in the year 2 system of Dave Canales is going to be spectacular. I knew the Dave Canales hire was going to be an A+ hit. I had them going 8-9 and 9-8 making the playoffs. Obviously, I was a little off in the record, but I knew Bryce Young would rebound. It took another benching of him in an Andy Dalton car accident for him to get his opportunity back, but that's never leaving his hands again. Bryce Young played amazing this year once he got benched, and I'm fully expecting Bryce Young next year to be in that top 12, top 13 quarterback conversation of, okay, this dude is good, right? Like, he's good enough to get you into the playoffs and maybe win a game or two. The Atlanta Falcons, tough. Right? Like, their defense is not good enough. Their offensive line solid. They have the weapons. They have the quarterback now. Michael Penix, the last 3 weeks of the season, showed promise. All of next season will be really fun to watch Michael Penix. They almost did what I wanted them to do. I thought a full season of Michael Penix sitting on the bench, learning the offense, and then next year getting his first start would be better. But, I mean, they played pretty well. Obviously, they missed the playoffs. But Michael Penix, you saw a lot from him that you're excited about if you're the Atlanta Falcons ownership and coaching staff. They have Raheem Morris. They have Zach Robinson and John Lake or Tommy Lake. I don't think any of their coordinators are getting snatched this year. I think Zach Robinson is good to stay as the OC. Again, as I've been saying, when you have a young quarterback that you're drafting, having a offensive head coach is super important, right? Like Zach Robinson, I like his scheme, but Raheem Morris is the head coach. He's the Vibes head coach. So I'm a little wary if he does get head coaching opportunities this year, does he take them? And if he does take them, who's going to be the next offensive coordinator for Michael Penix, right? I don't like young quarterbacks having a lot of turnover. I don't. I want my young quarterbacks to have 2-3 years in the same system. Then once they're established as what they are, that's when OCs can get hired. That's when a endless chain of OCs for your quarterback is going to be best, right? That's my personal opinion. Am I wrong? Probably, but that's how I feel about it at least. Texans, Titans. Texans do beat the Titans. Darn. I was really hoping the Titans would win so the Browns could get the number 1 overall pick. But unfortunately, it doesn't happen, right? It didn't happen. The Titans suck too bad to win against the Texans. The Texans, they played rough as well. Like, this is not a Texans team that was going to win today if they played against, like, the Falcons, right? Against any team trying to make the playoffs, the Texans would not have won this game. The Titans were playing to try and keep the number 1 overall pick once the Patriots won their game. So the Texans, thankfully, most of their starters didn't play on defense, but on offense, you saw C.J. Stroud play, you saw Nico Collins play, you saw Joe Mixon play, and it was still a little weary. So we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens with that in the playoffs. But the Titans, number 1 overall pick. I think they're going Cam Ward. I don't see Shedeur Sanders as a Titans quarterback. I think that system that Brian Callahan is running, I think it fits better with what Cam Ward does. Joe Burrow sits in the pocket, looks for his guy, delivers. Shedeur Sanders tries to make things happen out of nothing when he could have taken the easy pass. I think that's what Cam Ward excels at, is pocket presence and delivering strikes, and that's exactly what the Titans want. So I think Cam Ward will end up being a Titans quarterback. I think it'll be pretty good, right? They have Calvin Ridley. They have Nick Westbrook-Akini. They have Traylon Burks, who I guess isn't on the team anymore, it feels like. Chiggs Okonkwo, solid running back play, solid offensive line. Like, they're quarterback away from being a good offense. So I'm excited to see them take Cam Ward at number 1, and we'll get to see what happens, right? We'll get to see what happens with the Titans for the future. But the Titans do lose to the Texans today, secure that number 1 overall pick. We'll see for the future what the Titans look like. Then Giants at Eagles. The Giants, tough, right? It's a tough season for the Giants. They're at number 4, so I don't, unless they want to trade up with the Cleveland Browns, I don't see them. Oh no, they're at number 3. I think the Giants at number 3 and number 4. Let me check real quick. Draft order NFL. I forgot. Are they the number 3 pick? I think they are the number 3 pick. I want to make 100% sure though. Yeah, they're the number 3 overall pick. So, the Giants, unless they want to trade up with the Browns, I would be wary, Giants, because there's going to be teams after you trying to trade up with the Browns to grab their quarterback. And if there's going to be a team that does it, I think a team like the Jets could do it, right? I think the Raiders could do it as well, trade up to the Browns and grab Shedeur Sanders. So if I'm the Giants, I'm looking at guys below me. I think there's a chance that even the Saints could trade up. They're at number 9 right now. The 49ers at number 11, and maybe they go, hey, Brock Purdy, we're going to let walk after this upcoming season. Let's draft our future quarterback right now. There's a lot of teams that can trade up for a quarterback. So if I'm the Giants, maybe you get ahead of the curve and you trade up with the Cleveland Browns to secure the quarterback of the future. Because you're trying to beat out the Jets, you're trying to beat out the Raiders, you're trying to beat out the Saints, right? Like, there are teams you're trying to beat out for a quarterback. And Cleveland, maybe they don't want to take a quarterback at number 2, right? Maybe they want to slide back and grab a guy later in the round. So if I'm the Giants, I'm a little wary. Obviously, you secured a number 3 overall pick, so maybe you bets on the Browns just taking Mason Graham or something. But I think there's a very high chance that the Browns do trade down, and they get high value because the Giants are right there at number 3, right? Then obviously, the Eagles obviously beat the Giants. Eagles are in the playoffs. We'll see what happens. Tanner McKee looked pretty solid. I think there's a good chance that Tanner McKee gets a little bit of trade interest from teams looking for a quarterback. Same with Joe Milton. We saw it today as well. Malik Willis in free agency. There's a lot of these like fringe roster guys that played really well this year that I think are going to get chances on other teams to either be the backup or be chosen as a flyer option. The Jaguars at Colts. In overtime, the Colts do beat the Jaguars. Jags, good job. You wanted to lose that game so you get a little bit higher draft position. And the Colts, a lot's been going on with the Colts. I don't know if all of you guys are aware, but Pat McAfee has been a big, voice of the Colts that change needs to happen. Whether it's, the roster needs to get a little overhauled, Chris Ballard needs to go. The Colts are very interesting. We'll see what happens in the next coming days if anybody gets fired. But the Colts, this is a disaster season. There are multiple games that they should have won. They missed the playoffs. I think they went 8-9. Yeah, they could have easily been 13 wins, 12 wins. And they go 8-9, miss the playoffs again with a talented roster. It'll be very interesting again to see in the next couple of days if anyone gets fired. But the Jaguars, does Doug Peterson get fired? Does he somehow maintain his head coaching position for another season? We'll see. The AFC South is a crapshoot, man. It's a real crapshoot. I'm very intrigued to see how the AFC South, comes out of this season. Because I think multiple guys could get fired. Commanders at Cowboys. Commanders, they secure the 6th seed. They do not go down to the 7th seed with this win. Terry McLaurin sets the single season record for the Commanders on receiving touchdowns. Good for Terry McLaurin, man. Finally has a quarterback. I love Terry McLaurin. He's been through so much. He lost his best friend as well in Dwayne Haskins. It'll be very interesting to see the Commanders in the playoffs. Cowboys obviously lose 23-19, but the Cowboys' future is a little up in the air. Mike McCarthy is not currently on a contract for next season. So technically, the Cowboys' job is open. I think there is a really high chance that the Cowboys do go someone else in this offseason. Maybe that's a Mike Vrabel spot, right? Maybe that is a Ben Johnson spot, right? Maybe Ben Johnson goes, I want that job. Maybe it's just someone that we're not even expecting to get the job right now. Or Mike McCarthy returns to the team. That's also an option. But the Cowboys, they go into the offseason with a lot of question marks. And the Commanders go into the postseason with a lot of hope, right? A lot of hope in Jaden Daniels, a lot of hope in this defense. Dan Quinn has done a great job. I also saw Dan Quinn got a bad shake in Atlanta. You know, once Matt Ryan started regressing, Julio Jones started regressing, they didn't have a backup option. And I think that, you know, he got scapegoated once that era of Falcons was over. Same with Thomas Dimitroff, got scapegoated as well, their GM, and they're both now probably gonna be back in the NFL coaching and GMing, with Thomas Dimitroff getting interviewed in New York. But yeah, Dan Quinn, good on you. Cliff Kingsbury, I am a little shocked as well that he's been this good as an OC. I thought that was a really bad OC hire in the offseason, but I've been proven wrong, right? I've been proven wrong. So Commanders 23-19, awesome for Jaden Daniels and this young Commanders team to get into the playoffs like this, man. Bears 24-22 on the Packers. Yikers, right? I think obviously again the Packers, it's week 18. You've secured your playoff spot. You're not playing with the same intensity that you would if you were trying to go into the playoffs. But man, that's tough to lose to the Bears like that. You know, a Cairo Santos game-winning field goal, tough, real tough. But Caleb Williams, that was a masterclass on a final drive to get down to a field goal attempt, and I need to give him credit, right? I've been a big fan of Caleb Williams this year. I've been thinking that, you know, his offensive line's been piss poor. His defense has been lackluster. Now you're going to get a new head coach, a new OC, a new offensive system with all the same weapons. I'm excited for the Bears, man. I'm really excited for the Bears next year. I think it's like they have the opportunity to turn this franchise around like the Commanders and make the playoffs next year. Now, is it going to happen? I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. I genuinely do not know if that's what they're going to do. There's a lot of rumors that Ryan Poles is trying to, you know, steer the team away from Ben Johnson because Ben Johnson will want more GM duties. Yeah, that's what's going on in Chicago. So we'll see what happens. Packers, again, week 18, you're just trying to, you know, wheelchair your way into the playoffs. You're, you know, playing a lot of backups, rotating a lot of guys in and out. You're not giving them the best offensive effort and defensive effort because you're like, I'm trying not to get injured. I want to play next week, right? So 24-22, not a lot, you know, in my opinion, to blame the Packers. But if I'm the Packers ownership, I guess not owners. Like if I'm the Packers GM, I'm a little worried. I'm like, guys, come on, like at least give some effort. We lost to the freaking Bears, guys. You know, like that is something to be like, come on, like LaFleur, not even a little bit more effort. Come on, man. Oh yeah, so 24-22, Bears beat the Packers. Saints beat the Saints, Buccaneers. Tampa does defeat the Saints. That was a little scary on the last couple of minutes. There was a chance the Saints could come back and tie the game. Mike Evans, 11 straight years of 1,000 yards. Good on Mike Evans. I'm really happy for him. Baker, you know, they were down 16-6 at halftime. I'm like, Baker, dude, you got, like, what are you doing? This is one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Why are you not playing better? Go on a 21-3 run to end the game. You get your Mike Evans 1,000 yards season. You win the NFC South for the 4th year in a row. The Buccaneers, happy for him. Liam Cohn, there's no way Liam Cohn is still the OC coming next season. He's gonna get hired somewhere. There's no chance in my mind that Liam Cohn does not get hired somewhere. This offense has been potent all season, no matter the injuries. But for New Orleans, yikes, man. I think there's a good chance they clear house. I think there's a good chance that Mickey Loomis, the GM, gets fired. That the obviously the coach got fired, but I think both coordinators could be gone. Right, Clint Kubiak, I really hope does get fired, so the Browns can go after him. Because again, Clint Kubiak got his first start in the NFL with Kevin Stefanski in Minnesota. Obviously, he's a Kubiak, so he was gonna get a start somewhere. But the Kevin Stefanski offense in 2019 was Clint Kubiak's first NFL job. I hope Clint Kubiak gets let go so the Cleveland Browns can go after him, go back to that play action, you know, downfield throwing that Kevin Stefanski loves to do, that Clint Kubiak was attempting to do until everyone got hurt every single week, right? This first 2 weeks of the season for the Saints will go down in NFL history as the greatest 2 weeks start of a bottom 10 team ever. 90 points in 2 games, insane for a team that probably didn't score 90 points for the rest of the season. But yeah, Saints, we'll see what happens. I think they're an interesting team. I can see the Saints going after someone who is maybe they go after Liam Cohn, right? Maybe they go after a guy who's unproven as a head coach, because this roster has to go through a major overhaul, and maybe they want to go for a long-term head coaching prospect, right? Someone that can develop into a good head coach 2 years, 3 years from now, instead of going for a Ben Johnson, for example. But yeah, the Saints, they lose to the Buccaneers. Buccaneers win the NFC South. Good job, Baker. I'm proud of you. And finally, the last 1 p.m. Saturday game is Bills at Patriots. Obviously, the Bills, they're playing their 3rd, 4th, 5th strings to not get anyone injured. One play of Josh Allen to continue his his streak of starting games. I'm happy for the Patriots. You know, Drake May, yeah, given a bad offensive roster, right? A tough offensive line, a bad wide receiver core, tight ends that don't do anything, and a bad defense. So this team was not going to win anything. But I'm so surprised Gerard Mayo goes one and out, right? He's one and done as a head coach in the NFL. He'll probably snag on as a DC somewhere, right? He'll probably be a defensive coordinator for one of these teams that are firing all their head coaches. I think Dorrance Armstrong, who was his defensive coordinator, lands somewhere as well as D-line coach. Alex Van Pelt will be an OC somewhere, right? Or maybe even Alex Van Pelt stays on the Patriots roster, right? Maybe the new head coach keeps AVP as the offensive coordinator, so Drake May has consistency. That's something that I would like to see. But Patriots, they do win. They get out of the number 1 overall pick. I believe they're now at number 4 and number 5. Tough for the ownership. Obviously, that's why Robert Kraft probably fired Gerard Mayo. It was a no-win situation for Gerard Mayo. If he loses, he gets fired. He's a bad coach. If he wins, you get out of the first overall pick, and you're gonna get fired for doing that. So the Patriots had Gerard Mayo had a lose-lose situation. He screws over the ownership and says, "Hey, you're gonna fire me anyway. I'm gonna screw you out of a first overall pick," and that's what he does. So the Patriots do beat the Bills. Bills go on to the playoffs to try and win a Super Bowl. Good for them, man. Good for them. So yeah, hope you guys did enjoy this video. Again, something a little unique. I'm gonna be trying out for a couple of for these more topic videos. Obviously, once I go into the off-season rebuilds, which will be starting ASAP as soon as the season's over, we'll be going over off-season plan videos for all the teams that got eliminated, and I'm very excited, man. But this could be a new, I'm trying this out. I'm trying out. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you later. Peace and bye.